You can unmute yourself and tell me what is distributed system. So do you want me to name somebody who will say? So I am asking Angelina. Okay, Angelina. Can you unmute yourself and tell me what is a distributed system?
Uh, it's a collection of systems that are combined together to work together as one.
Kind of, very good. So here in distributed system, definitely we have certain autonomous computing elements, computing systems, which are kept together maybe in a network so that the users could feel that they are interacting to one single computer. Okay. Then in this distributed system, you have seen that there are certain how they are organized. We will also go in detail. Overall, we have said that it can be structured or unstructured, and then we have understood that for running a system, we need operating systems. So if we are having multiple computing devices, they will have their own operating system. So we will need a middleware, we are calling it. This is another distributed system software which will help us in combining the different computing devices in one, and using the applications on one computing device or other computing device, or maybe combination of the two also, you know? We have also seen that we want to achieve few things, like we want to share the resources uh, among the computing devices. We also want the transparency. We are calling it distribution transparency. There are several kind of transparency in it, we have seen. So we want to achieve this transparency, means the users should feel that they are interacting to one system, and how data is replicated, how where our computation is being done, users need not be aware of. We have also seen openness, that different kind of heterogeneous systems could be collaborated together. You know? We haven't seen scalability. We will see to the scalability, where we want to include more resources as per our need. You know? So for sharing resources, we have seen that different kind of options are there where we can share the resources. For transparency, we have seen that there are different kind of transparencies, whether it will be access, location, relocation, migration, replication, concurrency, and failure transparency. These all different kind of transparency. Altogether, they are being named as a distribution transparency. You know? We have seen these few things. We have seen openness, where the systems, we want the systems to be interoperable. It can be extensive. Policies and mechanisms are there. There should be a concrete difference between policy and mechanism. And then we are coming on the scale in distributed system. So before this scale in distributed system, if you have to ask something, you can ask. Any question till now? Although we are going through the overview only of distributed systems. So till now what we have seen, do you have any question? Assuming no questions, uh, those whose network would be slow, they can type their question in chat box also, no problem. So I am telling you, this is the scale in scale in distributed system. The thing is, why do we need this scale? See, we need some resources for particular processing. After some time, we think more users have included and more processing capability is needed. In that case, there should be a provision that keeping our system means there should be a provision that we could serve the new users. We could process the more amount of processing required without disturbing much in our current system. Basically, what we are talking about is size scalability. Okay, so if we have more number of users and more computation is needed, in that case, generally we want to scale our system. Okay, this is usually we are trying to name it. It is as size scalability. Now, other kind of scalability are also possible, which can be geographical scalability or administrative scalability, which means we want to have our processing systems maybe at one place, and in future or in some time we may need some new resources at certain different geographical location. In that case, we will say that we want to scale our system geographically. However, what we do is in our systems, we want to keep one administrator. But what happens in reality, we need more administrative systems, more administrators in our system. In that case, we want to add more administrative powers, I should say more administrative domains in our system. In that case, it will be called as administrative scalability. So generally we focus on size scalability. However, geographic and administrative scalability are also important and less explored, I should say. Now, so what is the observation? Observation is that size scalability. For size scalability, what we can do is we can use multiple powerful servers operating independently in parallel. Mm. These kind of things can be done for size scalability. However, geographical and administrative scalability is a challenge for now. So, a little detail on size scalability. Uh, so, what they are saying is uh, centralized solutions are there. What happens there? The computational capacity limited to the CPU. You know? The storage capacity, including the transfer rate between CPUs and disk, they are limited. The network between the user and the centralized server is may also create a bottleneck kind of thing. So what do we want now is to scale. Scale means we want to add more capability to our system. Centralized server, what it can be look like, say it can look like a first come first serve system where the requests are coming, they will be kept in a queue on the first come first serve basis. The request will be processed and the response will be given. This is the centralized system. We will see that in distributed system how it can be made fast. However, a little more detail on this, assuming that there is a infinite capacity of our queue, and assume that arrival rate request is lambda and processing capacity is mu request per second. So if we think about fraction of time having k requests in the system, let us assume it is pk. In that case, pk will be 1 minus lambda upon mu into lambda upon mu to the power k. This is assuming Poisson distribution. So more formally, what we are trying to say is utilization. Some more things we have to say. So let us assume what utilization can be. For period of time k, this was the probability pk. Addition of all of k greater than 0, it will be something 1 minus p naught starting point. Now so it is what it is the average. Average is lambda upon mu. So pk can be said that like this. These are the expressions. Other two important things we are finding out here is the average number of requests, which is n bar, and average throughput, which is x. Okay, average number of requests n bar, we are calling it will be utilization upon 1 minus utilization. Average throughput is lambda, we are calling it x. Average throughput is lambda. Why it is lambda? Because lambda was the number of requests, average requests coming. So what number of requests are coming, they are being executed, so throughput is lambda only. So what I am telling you is response time. What response time can be? Total time taken to process a request after submission. So it can be considered as n bar upon x. What was n bar? Average number of requests. Average number of requests upon throughput. This is the response time. You will see it will come as 1 upon 1 minus u. So this is some case what happened, we have taken s and we have kept this r this side. So what we have observed is if the utilization is small, response to service time is close to 1. Okay, so a request is immediately processed. If the u value goes to 1, in that case the system comes to a grinding halt. So in that case what we can do, we can decrease the s. ठीक है ना? So I'm not doing s. So it's okay, it is just the service time. We have to decrease the service time. Decreasing service time means we want to process fastly. If we will process fastly, then the service time will decrease. If we will decrease the service time, in that case we can serve more requests. That is what we are trying to understand. Now the question is, how can we decrease the service time? So that is scalability. We will scale the system to decrease the service time. Now there is something called geographical scalability. So with the geographical scalability, there are certain problems that may come, where the first problem can be latency, where the request will go, reply will come, till then the client will have to wait, and because of that certain kind of latency will be there. So this latency may easily prohibit this scheme. Okay, there are some problems. Now there are this WAN, where wide area network is often unreliable. This is a problem. Lack of multi-point communication. So this is basically for if we want to have broadcast kind of things. So these are not straightforward in WAN. So these are certain limitations, certain problems, I should say, in geographical scalability. Administrative scalability. Now there can be some conflicting policies from different administrative domains, management and security related. Okay. So now let us see examples like computational grids, shared equipments. There are certain things for which different domains may have different kind of policies that will create a problem for our administrative scalability. Now certain peer-to-peer networks are there like file sharing systems, peer-to-peer telephony, peer assisted audio streaming. These kind of systems are there where these some policies may be different, still it can work because of this peer-to-peer system. So how do we hide the communication latency? Okay, sorry. For scaling, we want to hide the communication latency. There are some techniques. Make use of asynchronous communication. Have separate handler for incoming response. Now, there are some problems. Not every application fits this model. There are a limited number of applications where we can use the asynchronous communication. So, accordingly, wherever we can use this asynchronous communication, we can use and hide the communication latency. Then these are some other techniques. Facilitate solution by moving computations to client. Now the thing is client is sending request and want some processing and then the response. Now if we send some of the important things to the client only and process it on the client side only to make it faster, in that case the response time will improve. So few things that is to be processed on the server side, if we are able to send it to the client side, that will be better, if at all it is not harming our security. Now these kind of things can be done with Java applet. You would have seen DNS and web also uses this kind of things. Replication and caching. For making service time faster, we are suggesting about replication and caching. What we can do is make copies of data available at different machines. Replicate file servers and databases, mirrored websites you have seen, web caches are there to faster response. File caching is also there. So these kind of techniques can also be used for scaling. Now if we want to replicate, so replication is easy, however there is some problem, inconsistency. If we have multiple copies at multiple locations, in that case if you want to make some modification, then it will have some problem. You will have to modify all the copies. If at all due to any mistake, due to any failure, due to any crash, any kind of thing, if some data remained like that and it was not changed, then there will be inconsistency. there is no global synchronization in distributed system. So because no global synchronization is there, you will have although we will see how to work on it, but the problem is uh, since copies are there, we want to make it consistent. We want to perform the operation at one time. Since there is no global time, in that case, some inconsistency may arise that some copies were edited, means worked on, and some copies were worked later. You know? So if we can tolerate the inconsistency, we may reduce the need for global synchronization, but tolerating inconsistency is application dependent. So many distributed systems are needlessly complex, caused by mistakes and that required patching later. Means while creating this distributed system, we may have certain assumptions and certain different kind of things, and many false assumptions, and because of that, we may needlessly create a complex distributed system, and later on we may try to improve it or do something, and this may create some problem. So what can be these false assumptions? The first false assumption can be the network is really active. Usually we should believe that network is not really active. Okay, accordingly we have to design our distributed system. Security issues are there. We should consider the security issues. We should not think that the network is secure. Another false assumption is the network is homogeneous. However, we should understand that the network is not homogeneous. The topology does not change. No, it is not true. Topology can always change. Okay? Another thing is latency is zero. No, it is not true. Latency is not zero. Always there are some latency associated. We have an assumption that we have infinite bandwidth. It is also not true. Okay. Transportation cost is zero. No, it is not true. If we assume that there is only one administrator, it is also not true. Means not always true. So these are certain things. There are three types of distributed systems, which can be some more things we will see in this: high performance distributed system, distributed information system, or distributed systems for pervasive computing. We will see this maybe in next lecture. For now, what I am telling you is scalability we have discussed till now. If you have some questions, please ask your questions. Okay, then let me ask some questions. Anurag, Anurag, uh, why do you want to scale our system? Anurag, Anurag. So Anurag is not responding. Can I ask Brijesh? Brijesh, what is the need of scalability? Brijesh, Brijesh, please unmute yourself and answer. Brijesh, are you there? Okay, so anyone among you, can you tell me why do we need scalability? Okay, then I will name again. I will go down. Venkat. Venkat, am I audible? You will have to unmute yourself and tell me. Sujit Kumar. Okay, some of you tell me, am I audible or not?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, then this means that you have seen these things, but you are not responding about these things. Okay, so this is something that today you have seen about scalability, and we will go through it. For now, what I am telling you is uh, we will have these lectures. I will prepare the video and upload there in the this thing, uh, mm, Google Classroom. Also, every week on this day we will have a session where usually we will try to discuss your questions on every Friday for this distributor system, and on Saturday for that particular course compiler. है ना? So there are many things in distributed system that you have to learn and you may like it. For now, what I'm telling you is I will uh, conclude today with this thing. Till now, any question if you have, or anything related to the course?
Excuse me, sir.
Hmm.
Sir, which book are we to follow for this course? Actually, there are two books prescribed in the syllabus,
Mm-hmm.
but see you are following the book by Tannenbaum and Weinstein, correct?
Hmm.
So, are we to follow this book or the book by George Coulouris?
Uh, that book is better. I mean, the other book is better. Tannenbaum is okay. I got this thing, so I am using it. However, if you will go for the Colorius, that is also, I mean, that is a better book in fact. Mm.
Yes, sir. Thank you,
Mm.
sir.
Any other question? So, as far as the books are concerned, Colorius is a good book uh, for the distributed system. However, Tannenbaum is also there, but Colorius has written nicely. So, if you are reading book, however, I will prepare from both of them for this lecture. Any other question? So from 11:45, some of the students have their own other things. It's okay. For Friday, we will have this much time only. And this is the Google link that we will use for this distributed system course. Always Google Meet link. Okay. So for now, I think today's session is over. Any other question?